Our next reader is from Fairfax, Virginia, and that is Teresa Burns Murphy, reading her third prize poem called Geometry Lesson.
My mother is retired now, but when I was growing up, she was a math teacher, and she tried very hard to teach me geometry. Unfortunately, I was the one person in the family who did not inherit the math gene. The only thing that fascinated me about geometry was the language used to describe things I didn't have a clue about. A term that has always fascinated me is asymptote. Now, according to the Urban Dictionary, an asymptote is a girl or a guy who has a crush on someone but never does anything about it. But in mathematics, an asymptote is a straight line that a curve gets closer and closer to, but never touches it or crosses it. I've used the word asymptote in this poem to show that no matter how close you get to another person, you can never fully reach them. Geometry lesson. When I was a sophomore in high school, my mother set out to teach me geometry. Seated across from her at the table, I laid out my graph paper and compass, wondering if she could prove perpendicular lines could not be parallel. "The world is full of geometry," she said. "Snowflakes are hexagons, earthworms are cylinders. Navigators have always relied on geometry." Not given to pure reason, I felt the curve of my hand in Johnny's hip pocket. The snow was melting. Outside, the earthworms hummed. Underground, they measured out their dirty work. Instruments so finely tuned, they breathed through their own skins. A ray of sunlight shone through the window at an angle that made me squint. Encountering an asymptote, my mother stretched her arm toward me and said, "This is a line that goes on and on forever." Infinity was not a concept I grasped until our circle was broken. Dirges sung, "The earth measured." Thank you.